is the story of Fritz Honka, a man whose name became synonymous with horror in Germany. By day, he was invisible, a lonely, awkward man living quietly in a small attic apartment. But by night, he turned into a monster. What the police would later discover in his home would haunt even the toughest investigators. A nightmare hidden behind a locked... Fritz Honka was born in 1935 in Leipzig, Germany. His childhood was brutal. His father was sent to a concentration camp. His mother struggled to feed her children. Bullied for his looks and speech, Fritz grew up isolated and insecure. By the 1970s, he had moved to Hamburg, working odd jobs and living alone in a cramped attic flat at 62 Zeitstrasse. He often spent his nights drinking in the Zum Goldenen Handschuh, the Golden Glove, a bar known for its rough crowd. It was a place filled with alcoholics, prostitutes, and people society had long forgotten. And among them, Fritz Honka blended in perfectly. In 1970, Honka met Gertrude Breuer, a 42-year-old woman he invited to his apartment. When she refused his sexual advances, he snapped. He strangled her, then panicked. Desperate to hide the evidence, he dismembered her body and wrapped the pieces in plastic bags. He stored them in his attic, hidden behind the walls. No one noticed, no one cared. The smell of decay filled the building, but Honka blamed it on his cats and on the neighbors' garbage. It worked. For years, he continued to kill. Between 1970 and 1975, Fritz Honka lured at least 4 women from the Golden Glove bar to his apartment. They were all middle-aged, poor, and often homeless. Women no one would report missing. He would offer them food, alcohol, or a place to sleep. Then, after arguments or sexual rejection, his rage would explode. He strangled them one by one. Anna Buschel, Ruth Schult, Frieda Roblick, and Gertrude Breuer. Each murder ended the same way: dismemberment, wrapped body parts, and the same attic hiding place. His victims' bodies decayed just a few meters from where he slept. He even hung air fresheners all over his room to cover the stench. In July 1975, a fire broke out in Honka's apartment building. Discovery. Human remains, heads, limbs, and torsos, stuffed in bags and hidden behind furniture. The smell was unbearable. Honka himself wasn't home at the time, but investigators immediately identified him as the tenant. When they arrested him, he denied everything. He blamed the smell on his cats again. But the DNA, fingerprints, and the victims' belongings all told the truth. In 1976, Fritz Honka stood trial in Hamburg. He appeared frail, nervous, with a twisted nose and uneven eyes. A pathetic figure. His lawyers claimed he was mentally unstable, unable to control his impulses. Psychiatrists testified that he suffered from brain damage caused by alcohol abuse. Honka admitted to the killings but insisted, "They insulted me. They called me ugly. I had to stop them." The court sentenced him to 15 years in a psychiatric institution rather than prison. It was justice, but it felt far from enough for the horror he had caused. After 15 years, Honka was released in 1993, living quietly under a new name in a nursing home near Hamburg. He died in 1998 at age 63, alone and forgotten, just as he had lived. But his story never left the city. To this day, the Golden Glove Bar still stands, a grim reminder of the nights when Fritz Honka walked its smoky halls, searching for victims among the lost and the lonely. The story of Fritz Honka isn't about evil in the shadows. It's about the monsters that hide in plain sight. Men so unremarkable that nobody ever looks twice, until it's far too late.